But yeah, like you said, here we go for round two. But if we get someone in the chat here, I'm gonna check with them to make sure that they can hear us properly. But
Okay. Yeah, I'm
I'll
surprised no one mentioned anything through the whole hour and a half.
yeah, I had like when the stream ended, I had like 65 views on the stream. Not one single
Wow.
person said anything in the chat that my microphone was off in Streamlabs.
Yeah, it
Oh,
had it had it had it had 5 thumbs up. I was like, okay, and I
six.
just kind of skimmed through the video just to make sure things were fine. And I guess the only parts I came across was when I was talking, and that worked. But yeah, I didn't check to see if your mic was on. But
Yeah,
oops.
that's hilarious. But
Yeah, makes for a good story. So.
yeah, I'm gonna give it a minute or two here just to make sure everything is running properly.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I got now since I know that I have to do this on my phone. I have my phone charged up more this time. So
All right. If anyone in the chat can let us know that you can hear me and Marty, we'll get started a while. It does look like there's two people in the chat, so I do want to make sure the audio is working properly this time. It sounds like it because I have. Tell you what, go ahead and say something. I'll check on my phone.
okay, hey guys, can you hear me?
Yep, we're good.
All right, sweet. Good to go this time. Hopefully, this last time we have to record this episode. But
Yeah, that sucks. But who
I
would
know we
have?
had a great conversation.
Yeah, hour and a half, no audio on my end. But go ahead and introduce yourself and your YouTube channel and what you do on it.
Hey guys, my name is Marty Hansen, and I race tough trucks. I have a 1999 Dodge Durango. You may have seen me race my old Durango. It was in a video that went viral of me racing at the Clark County Fair. Um, yeah, so I have my own YouTube channels, youtube.com/Marty Hansen, and I post monster truck freestyle videos and tough truck videos from around the Pacific Northwest. You can also find some of my personal track day, drag racing, autocross videos on there. But for the last couple years, it's pretty much just monster truck freestyle and tough trucks.
And it's a really good channel too. So if you never seen Marty's channel, go ahead and check it out and give him a subscribe if you like it. Like I said, it's a really good channel, and it's on the West Coast, which I'm completely on the other side of the country with in Pennsylvania. So, like I said, I'm on the opposite side of the country. And but how did you get started in tough truck racing? You said you started racing in 2014, right? But have been watching them for a very long time.
That's correct. Yeah, I mean, I've been watching monster trucks and tough trucks since I was a toddler. I mean, my parents would take me to the Clark County Fair probably when I was like 3 years old. And they'd have monster trucks and tough trucks, and I've been watching it ever since. And also, I've seen pro arena trucks on. It was on Motor Madness for a while in the late '90s, and then Monster Jam. They'd have pro arena trucks as a side act. Throughout the years at the Rose Garden, which is now the Moda Center where the Portland Trailblazers play. And yeah, so it was 2014. I remember the year before 2013 when I went to the Clark County Fair. I was like, you know what, I want to do this next year. But I was going to school. I was only working part time. Didn't have a lot of money. But I graduated college in 2014, and then I got a full time job. So the fair was a couple weeks away, and I was like, you know what, I really don't have any excuses not to do it. So I went out and found a vehicle I wanted. My criteria was I had to be fuel injected because I've seen a lot of carbureted vehicles go through the course. The fuel gets knocked out of the bowl of the carburetor, and they'll stall out. And I didn't want that to happen. I wanted four-wheel drive because if you break lose a drive shaft, I'd like to have at least the other couple wheels powered to get finish the course. And I wanted something at least a V6. I wanted at least some power. And um, let's see, and also I lost my train of thought there, but I just wanted to, yeah, and I was, I wanted to spend between 500 to $1,000, and you had to be running. And so when it came, it was a few weeks before the fair, I was going on Craigslist, and really the only thing I could find was a 1998 Dodge Durango. The guy I think wanted 800 for it. I went and took a look at it, and this thing was pretty trashed out. It had a broken back window. The frame was rusted out. So I ended up getting the thing for $600, and the guy's lucky I gave him that much for it, to be honest. So yeah, then I ended up racing at the 2014 Clark County Fair. The only things I did to it is I had my brother put in a harness bar, and I put a 5-point harness in, and then my buddy smartened me up. He told me to remove the fuse for the airbags, and I was like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Trust me, you're going to want to do this." I was like, "Okay," because just as a fan, I'm like, "Oh, that doesn't look. I mean, those are just like speed bumps. That doesn't look too bad. It actually looks kind of fun, being bounced around." I didn't realize how you're basically getting to a car wreck with the ground sometimes. So yeah, that was the first year, 2014. I did that, and like I said, that's the video where my run went viral because my buddy who runs Northwest Monster Trucks with me on Facebook, his YouTube channel is NW Fan2 on YouTube. Mm-hmm. He filmed my run, and I'm not a wheeler or anything. I don't go 4x4 so I've done like drag racing. I had done drag racing at the time and like autocross and the go-karts. So I was used to racing, but never on nothing off-road. So I really wasn't sure like what to expect. I was like, well, I don't want to like crawl through the course and be boring, but I don't want to floor it and get too out of control. So I'll just give it half throttle. But apparently half throttle was a lot of throttle, and man, I got the first jump. The front came up and slammed down, and the cross member hit the top of a whoop, and it like kind of brought me to a stop. And the back end came up and slammed down on the ground. I was like, oh, okay, this is a lot rougher than I thought. But I was like, well, I mean, I can't stop now. I got to keep going. So yeah, it was a great run, and yeah, then like I said, NW Fan2, his name's Patrick. He filmed that run, and then a few years later, a Russian shop on Facebook actually ripped the video and re-uploaded it. Mm-hmm. And then, like I said, my friend tagged me in that video saying, "Hey, you need to give this guy some directions on how to drive or pointers." And I was like, "Hey, dude, that's actually me driving." Because at the time, I had a different Durango I was racing.
What are you talking about?
Right? I was like, well, yeah. Anyway, so that video, like, first it had a couple thousand views. Then it went all the way up to like 100,000, 200,000, like 1 million, 3.3 million. And that was just that video. It's been uploaded by other Facebook pages on Instagram. And then a lot of the car websites like Jalopnik and Speed Society had like shared the video and just wrote like a little article on that and stuff. So that was pretty cool. So that's kind of, that was how I got into tough truck racing. I've been doing it since 2014. I traveled around in 2016. I think I did 6 shows that year, but I got pretty beat up and it was expensive, and my rig got pretty beat up as well. So now I just stick to racing at the Clark County Fair, but I travel around to other tough truck, monster truck shows and film those. I think last year I filmed like, I guess, 6 tough truck events.
Yeah, and you said you get about 8 or 9 shows a year, right? Around that.
Okay, so I attended 6. I mean, between Washington and Oregon, there's probably even, there's probably, I mean, maybe 10 to 12. It's hard to say, because I live on the west side, because there's like a Bill Payne with Malicious Monster Truck Tour. They do a lot of shows, and usually like the tough trucks are the side acts. I hit them up in Cottage Grove, but they do other like Skagit and maybe some like stuff on the coast as well. But then there's stuff on the other side, like Central Washington. I haven't been there in a while. I've gone to shows there before, but then there's all the way as far as east as Spokane, which is like on that near the Idaho border. I don't get out that far. My limit's usually 3 hours from Vancouver, where I live, which is right across the border from Portland, Oregon, and Southwest Washington. So.
Yeah, doesn't this feel like a deja vu from yesterday?
It does. It's like, have we done this before? Well, yeah.
But you also do WGS GAS, who does Clark County, but you mentioned yesterday one of the announcers died about 3 years ago.
Yeah, that was Lloyd Massey. He was the announcer for WGAS Motorsports, and yeah, I mean not only did he announce, but I mean, when you check into the event, he would be there helping like drivers get signed in and stuff like that. And yeah, I was telling you the story yesterday. It was in between shows. I went to use the restroom over in the exhibition hall or whatever, and when I was walking out, Lloyd was walking with his girlfriend, and I was wearing a bounty hunter shirt, and he commented, "Hey man, nice shirt," and I was like, "Thanks," you know. I mean, I wanted to talk to him, but he was kind of with his girlfriend, so I just didn't want to, you know, like, I just want to respect his privacy. But man, I kind of looking back, I wish I would have got to talk to him a little bit more, because I mean, you never know when somebody's time has come, you know, his time is going to come, you know. So you know, you just don't think about things like that. But I just wish I would have, you know, talked to him during that time, just got to know him. So.
Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about. I remember watching a video of Don Chester. Is he the skinny guy that Don Chester chased with a glass of champagne on the video?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I think that was 2013.
Yeah, that dude seemed like a really awesome, nice guy.
Yeah, you know, very entertaining, nice guy. Yeah, so.
But have you ever been to San Diego to see the San Diego Tuff Trucks in California? I think you said that was too far for you. It's like 16-hour drive.
Yeah, I have not. Yeah, I've not been down there. I've seen the videos online, and it looks really cool because like down there, everybody's got like pre-runners and trophy trucks, and you know they actually make the course pretty tough for them. So I think that's awesome. I would love to go down there, but yeah, it's a little bit too far. I mean, I think it'd probably be about a 16-hour drive. Down there. So
something I'm thinking about doing is once I get some more money, I might even consider flying down to Clark County or even San Diego to record both those events. That would be a lot of fun. Both those shows look like a lot of fun, especially San Diego, where they have those pre-runners. And I also remember we talked about that stock Bronco that took on those pre-runners. He just kept going and going without a care in a single bone of his body. But
all right.
And I think I even saw a video of Robbie Gordon. Do you know who he is?
Yeah, he races in SST.
Yeah, Stadium Super Trucks. Before they even started Stadium Super Trucks, he took one of them down there to test them out, and he rolled it over at San Diego County. I don't know if you ever saw that, but...
Yeah, no, I saw that video. That was pretty cool. Yeah. So
it would be cool to someday to be able to race against those guys in like our own tough trucks, like a tough truck versus Stadium Super Truck kind of thing. That would be really awesome.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Actually, the Stadium Super Trucks, they came to Portland International Raceway back, I think, in Labor Day weekend. I actually went there and watched those. They race on the road course, but they set these ramps up, and dude, they go flying off those things. It was pretty impressive live. So, and I got to go up close and personal, look at the trucks up close, and so that was real cool.
Yeah. How are you enjoying being a tough truck driver / YouTuber / tough truck mechanic? I know that can be quite a balance.
I mean, right now I'm enjoying it. I mean, like I said, I would, before I was even like, I guess, making money on YouTube, I was filming tough trucks and monster trucks just for fun, just going to these shows for fun. So, I mean, I love going to the shows, and it's just nice that I can, I guess, get paid for it. And also I still enjoy going back and watching the videos because, sometimes like you miss stuff live in the moment there. So it's always fun to go back and look. As far as racing, it's fun. I mean, it can be and it cannot be depending on the run, but I got a good setup now. So I actually really enjoy, racing. I'll admit I am not much of a mechanic. I do work on my stuff, but that's just out of necessity, my older brother, he's like a fabricator engineer, so he helps me with a lot of that stuff. And my younger brother, we're not mechanics, but I mean, we know how to turn a wrench, so we work on it together. And my dad helps tow me to the events and stuff. So it's kind of a family thing. But it's a lot of fun, and I'm really looking, since I only do it once a year now, I get like that. I get, it's more rewarding when I go race because I get that itch all year, and I really have like one day to kind of like get to use the vehicle to what I designed it for, and just just go out there and have fun. And yeah, I mean, I was a little disappointed with the way I did at Clark County in 2019, and I got rained out in the evening, so I didn't get to race. But I'm really looking forward to this year, especially. I mean, well, we covered this yesterday, but I had surgery. Now it's been 10 days ago to repair a hernia, and so I've just been at home recovering, and I'm just looking forward to getting back to 100%, and getting out there and racing. So
yeah, I'm glad you're feeling better. I saw some of the pictures on Twitter that I wouldn't say I'm squeamish, but stuff like that can be a little hard to look at. But I'm glad you're feeling better.
Thanks, man. Yeah, no, some of those pictures aren't for the faint of heart. Yeah.
No, that's all right. Don't worry about it. But how do you like your Durango so far? I know we talked about that yesterday, but I just want to make sure everyone gets everything we talked about yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I love my current Durango. It's my favorite Durango. It's a '99. I think it had like 252,000 miles on it. Got it for $1,000. And so I'm on my third Durango. The very first Durango I had only owned for 9 days. I bought it for $600. I think I sold it to the junkyard for like $330. So it's basically like a $270 joyride or whatever. But that thing was so rusted out, I don't think it would have been even worth it to like do anything to it. And then I had another '98 Durango. My second one was a white one. That one I ended up using. I put bigger tires on it, Rancho shocks. I did crank up the torsion bars in the front, and I eventually went to rear shackles and stuff in the rear. But I did 6 events, I think, in 2016, and that really shortened the lifespan on it. But during that time, I really figured out, the stuff that I really wanted, to keep on my Durango. So I pretty much transferred all that other stuff, the stuff that was working good, onto my new one. So I got a really good setup, got good ground clearance. The shocks, the KYB Monomax shocks work great. Got a roll bar, a Summit Sports seat in there with a 5-point harness. I got the bumpers taken off and stuff. And yeah, no, it's my best setup. I really love it. I can't wait to actually, drive it real hard, because I feel like it's kind of funny, because when I had a stock rig, I felt like I was driving crazier. Now that I have a slightly more setup rig, I've been kind of conservative in my driving, but I'm hoping to step it up this year. So
yeah, your Durango is a 2-wheel drive for now, right? You took the front diff out of it.
That's correct. It came 4-wheel drive. I took the front diff out because I think thinking back last night, I think I went through three front differentials in my white Durango.
Okay.
And that's because they come with an aluminum housing, and if you land with any sort of wheel speed, the case just cracks. So just to since I knew it was gonna, it's got the independent front suspension, which is like a little small, the aluminum housing for the third member or whatever, and I know it's going to break, and just to save weight, I took that out of the front anyways, because, not just Durangos, but most vehicles are pretty front-end heavy, so I was like, well, also I'll take a little bit of weight out. That should make it a little bit softer landing anyways. So yeah. I just took the diff out. So
I'm just thinking in my head right now, I'm just wondering if Dodge has anything that would be steel that you could replace it with instead of being 2-wheel drive, because in most of these events you would want it. I'm just wondering if there is something that you could replace that rather than taking it out. I don't know, maybe the Dodge Ram axles might be too wide and too heavy, and like you said, is the rear also aluminum?
No, it's got a solid rear end. Just normal steel or whatever.
That's weird. The front is aluminum then.
Yeah, the front's independent front suspension, so it's just got like the little aluminum pumpkin up there in the front. I don't know if there's like a steel one. I mean, obviously I could do like a straight axle, but I mean, I don't know if I'm looking to spend that much time and money on it, Yeah. And I mean, I will admit, 4-wheel drive is a four-wheel drive is a big advantage in tough truck racing. One,
Mm-hmm.
you can get off the traction off the line and traction coming out of the corners, and also at Clark County, they have a mud pit, so
Mm-hmm.
it definitely helps you there. But I don't know, I don't mind it because with it being two-wheel drive, I got the welded rear diff. I got my sponsor Gainers Automotive hooked me up with brand new mud tires, so I don't have to really worry about getting stuck. And it saves a little weight up in the front, so a little bit softer landing. And with the rear, with only being rear wheel drive, I get to drift a little bit, which is, puts on a good show for the fans. It's kind of fun and allows me to whip 180-degree corners pretty quick.
Yeah, as long as
So,
all four wheels stay on the ground. But
right.
did you ever roll over? I don't think you said you did. I think you said you had some close calls.
Thank God I have not rolled over. Yeah, I did have a close call. That was 2015 at Clark County Fair at the evening show. It was in my white 98. I broke the front diff during that run, and I didn't realize that until kind of like the final corner. I had to whip a 180 degree turn and go back over the tabletop that I had just come over. And so normally when you have four-wheel drive, the thing hooks and goes straight. But since I didn't have four-wheel drive, just the back end kicked out, and I went off the tabletop sideways, and I was like, "Oh crud! I shouldn't have done that." But I think if I hit the brakes, and I just slid down the side of it instead of like if I would have carried a little bit of momentum, it may have got up on two wheels and going down the bank. It may have had a good chance of rolling, but thankfully I didn't. So I'm kind of claustrophobic. So one of my biggest fears though is like rolling upside down inside the mud pit.
Oh yeah, that would suck.
I mean, you could potentially drown. So I'm just like, thank God I've never done that.
Yep.
But
But do you have a roll cage in your Durango, or do you just have a roll bar? I know you said you have a Summit seat and the shocks that you had.
I just have a roll bar. One of the tough truck racers, he had some leftover tubing and a hoop, and then so I had my brother fabricate me a roll bar, which I'm glad I have because also there's a bar that goes like across it. That's my harness bar. I wish my roll bar was just a little bit taller. It just cleared my head, but just not as much as I'd feel more comfortable. I had a little bit more clearance, but it does give me some peace of mind that like, okay, if I do flip over, I mean, cars from the factory, like they're the B pillars or whatever are kind of meant to survive like a rollover. So for safety standards, but it does feel good to have a little extra reinforcement and just in case, especially if you were to like pancake, end over end. It feels good to have just a little bit extra protection just in case something like that were to happen. So
Okay, do you plan on adding to it at all or not? It's up to you.
not right now. I mean, if I did roll it over as is, I would probably go have a full cage put in because at that point the roof has already been like crushed. I don't know how many times you'd want to risk rolling over on a roof that's already been caved in. So at that point, like I feel I'd be safe now if I rolled over. But if I rolled over and wanted to continue using this vehicle, I'd probably go with a full cage.
I remember you said during one of your runs that you were getting whipped around quite a bit. Do they make you wear a neck brace at your events? They do over here.
I do wear a neck brace. I was using a Hans device, but I was just borrowing that. I gave it back, and a Hans device is great if you have it set up right. But one of the times the shoulder straps fell off of it, so the Hans device kind of like turned and like was like digging into my neck and left some abrasions. I can't. Okay, now everybody like wears like some sort of neck collar. I can't remember if it's like required. It might be Yeah, I'm not sure if it's required or just recommended. I wear. I borrow. My older brother does drag racing, so I borrow his neck collar. I'd have to go back and look at the rules. I'm not really sure about that, but I always wear a neck collar, helmet, and my older brother he lets me borrow his fire jacket that he uses for drag racing, which I love because before I'd always get seatbelt abrasions like on my neck and my shoulder, but with the fire jacket, it even goes up as like a collar around the neck, so I don't get seatbelt abrasions anymore, which is nice.
Yeah, and what about chains under the drive shaft? over here. I know we talked about the neck brace. That actually is mandatory over here in
Okay.
Pennsylvania and most of the events over here on the East Coast. But what about for the drive shafts? For us over here, we have to put some kind of a strap. I use chain linked chains through the frame of the truck and go down below the drive shaft. So if it comes off, it doesn't dig into the ground or anything. Uh, do they make you do anything like that over there?
No, there's no rule that you have to have like a drive shaft loop or anything. I don't have anything like that.
Okay.
Because yeah, I'll admit, tough trucking. At least the events I've been over here, as far as tech inspection, there's not much of one.
Okay.
Some events they might come over and just you might just check things out, just make sure your battery's held down and your seatbelts work. Um, but yeah, like pretty pretty much most of the events I go to, as long as when you get up to the line, your seatbelts are hooked up and your helmet strapped on, they'll
Yeah.
send you out there.
Yeah.
Now, most other motorsports, they definitely have like a rule book, and you got to like, you know, there's a bunch of like safety guidelines you got to follow. But tough truck events, at least around here, the rules are very lax. So
And one of your videos blew up, right? The Monster Jam from Seattle, Washington, when Brodozer, the diesel monster truck, did a backflip, right? You said it's
yeah,
like that. Yeah, go ahead.
oh yeah, that's correct. Yeah, that was the first time Monster Jam had been back in Seattle in 20 years. The last event they did was at the Kingdom in Seattle there in 1999 for a Motor Madness event. And after that event, they tore the Kingdom down. And they eventually built, now it's CenturyLink Field, or where the Seattle Seahawks play. So anyways, Monster Jam um, went there last April, I believe. Or was it the end of March? I can't remember. But anyways, yeah, and that was first time being there, and I filmed just 5 of the trucks that I thought would put on the best freestyles, and I posted that video after I went to the event. I thought it might get a couple thousand views, but and don't ask me how. I don't know how it's blown up, but dude, it's up to last time I checked, I think it was 8.7 million.
Yeah, I have a few guesses. I think the thumbnail might have a good role for that video because it shows the smoke from the diesel truck shooting. It almost shows the shape of the backflip, and it shows Brodozer almost landing, right?
Right.
Yeah, I think the thumbnail played a really good role in that video blowing up along with the title. But something something we talked about yesterday that I am really excited to hear again was the origins of the tough trucks. You said you think you found a guy on the Monster Mayhem forum that might know uh, how it started, right?
Right. Let me just look it up. Look it up here. Yeah. So I was on the Monster Mayhem forum. I was on the Monster Mayhem forum when I was like in high school, like a teenager. So I would say I was most active on there probably from 2005 to like 2009, I think. And there was a guy on there by the username of Chopper, and he would always post like pictures, and he had some old videos from like shows around the Northwest, like especially the Clark County Fair and like stuff in Portland. And he's stuff all the way dating back all the way back to the 80s, I believe. So anyways, I've kept in touch with him over the years through Facebook, and it was back in October. I was just kind of like wondering. I was like, where did tough trucks even like start? Like, who even coined the term tough truck? Because I mean, at least I'm so obsessed about this, I don't even know where it began. So I messaged him, and he was able to give me some insight. Now, I trust his knowledge, but if somebody else has any more information or wants to chime in, that's fine too. He says the origins of tough trucks. He said the first event he went to at Clark County was in 1989, but he says the very first tough truck races can be traced to the Indianapolis 4x4 Jamboree around 1986. Early magazines, Peterson's four wheeler showed Jamboree coverage, which showed monsters, mud racing, tough trucks, and show trucks. So I guess where he says it started, where he thinks it started was, yeah, the Indianapolis 4x4 Jamboree around 1986. So
Yeah, and that would be quite a sight because we don't know what they ran in 1986, and we don't know what the courses were like. But could you imagine if it was the same kind of vehicles that we have now, like the Broncos around the almost around the year that they were made? Some of them are like 1975 or not up to like 1980 85 also. But it would be quite a sight to see if it was some some of these vehicles when they were in their prime, almost brand new, if that is what it was. I don't think it was, but I could be wrong.
yeah, I don't know either, because like most rigs are at least now, the race now are usually about 20 years old. You might find a few that are newer than that, but that's kind
Yeah.
of like kind of a rarity. Kind of the not very common. Um, what I think the course was probably a lot tamer
Mm-hmm.
than what it is now. You know, it was probably maybe a little bit more technical too. I'm not sure. I would imagine a lot of it was like street rigs. People street 4x4 rigs. Um, but yeah, because like yeah, that's a good question. I'd love to go back and see what types of rigs they were using because like in the late '90s in Motor Madness, a lot of people were using like '70s Broncos and like Blazers, and yeah, I mean if you think about it, most of those things were probably like 20 years old, just a hair over that. There may have been even some stuff from the '80s racing in there, which is pretty crazy. Thinking because relatively at that time they were semi new. Some of those things. There's probably other rigs like that still driving around on the street.
Yeah. When did you uh when did you get on the when did you find the Monster Mayhem forum? Because I've been on there maybe around 2003 to I would say around maybe 2005 and 6 and poking every once in a while to see if it's still dead. But
Uh,
I might actually remember seeing you in there before. I don't know for sure though.
yeah, I think I got on there in 2005. I mean, I was like 14. I had a ridiculous username. It was MAMH121890NW8TNA. So it'd be pretty hard to like miss. It was like very goofy, but
Yeah, I don't remember that name. Sorry.
uh,
I thought I remember seeing a Marty Hansen in there, uh, but did you get into monster trucks at around that time? Also around 2005 or six, or was it before that?
well, I had been into monster trucks ever since I was a toddler. I'm pretty sure, like probably the first event I was taken to, it probably would have been August of '94. I was 3 years old. My parents took me to the Clark County Fair. It's kind of funny because like the loud noise scared me. I kind of wanted to go home. But I mean, I really didn't become like an internet monster truck fan. I mean, probably until uh, around '04, '05. So
Yeah, no. What what motor do you have in your Durango right now? Is it a 318? 318 V8?
yeah, it's a 318. It's the Magnum 5.2 liter V8. I mean, it's all stock. I just got the exhaust off right after the catalytic converter just to free up the exhaust a little bit, and because uh, a lot of times the stock exhaust can get like kind of mangled up when you're doing tough trucks, and you could
Yep.
potentially end up if it gets kinked, you could potentially end up blocking off the exhaust flow, and that would not be good.
Nope.
So I just cut it off after the cat.
Yeah. Have lost my train of thought here. Give me a
Oh, that's fine.
second. Sorry. Have you ever seen a Dodge Durango with the 360? I believe they were made in 1998 because my Dodge Ram, that's the motor that truck has for my modified build.
I've seen them around, but I've never owned one, unfortunately. I don't know if they're a little bit more rare. Maybe they want a little bit more money for them. But all three Durangos I've had have had the 318, the 5.2 liter Magnum V8.
Have you ever seen one in a Tuff Truck event with a 360?
I've seen Durangos. One had the what is it it's like a 4.9 or 8, like the ones that came in 2000. I can't remember. It's a 4 point something liter. I've seen that. I've seen other Durangos, but I didn't get a chance to look under the hood to see what motor they are.
Yeah.
Like there was a Durango at the Clark County Fair this past year, but I'm not sure if it was a 5.2 or a 5.9.
Okay. Yeah. I know those motors. I think they would put them in a Dodge Durango, but so far I've seen those motors in a Jeep Grand Cherokee, the Dodge Ram, and crap. Well, let's just go with the Jeep Grand Cherokee and the Dodge Ram. I think there's another vehicle I saw them in. I can't remember though, but I'll see what else I can remember from yesterday. Have you? What was the worst crash you ever saw at a Tuff Truck event, or is it something you never caught on camera before?
Worst crash. Well, there's a couple. Both of them I did not catch on camera. One that comes to mind, this was out in Yakima at the fairgrounds. This was probably, I had to guess, is probably '06 maybe.
Okay.
And I want to say it was like an S15 or an S10 or something. Man, he hit this like little mogul in the center of the track. He hit it and he went end over end and pancaked.
Oh.
And yeah, and the whole roof was like caved in. I was like, did this guy just die? Like, I didn't know what happened there. But thankfully, I guess he did have, the only thing he had like one of those dragster like hoops that goes up behind the driver, and apparently that pretty much just saved his butt there. So thankfully he was unhurt. But it, like, when I saw it, I was just like, did I just witness a death? Like, oh my God. And then the second one, it was this is in Longview, Washington. I think NW Fan 2, Patrick, I think he caught that on video. This guy jumped. There was like a double jump. He jumped it, but when he landed, he got knocked unconscious, and he just like drove through this like rodeo, steel rodeo gate fence thing. And yeah, the show came to a halt there for a little bit before they were able to get him taken care of. So I think those are probably two of the worst things I've seen in person.
Yeah. Can I actually add to that though? I do remember watching. I don't know if it was you or NW Fan 2, but didn't someone run a Tuff Truck course and roll over and have like family members and like 2 or 3 dogs in the car?
No, that was me actually. Yeah, I forgot about. Sorry, I forgot about that one. Yeah, that was Chehalis, 2017. This guy had like a red Jeep, and he had a passenger, and then he rolls it over, and him and the driver and the passenger get out, and then all of a sudden you see like a little Chihuahua and some other dog run out from him, and I'm just like, what in the heck? I mean, I know the rules for Tuff Trucks, a lot of these events are pretty lax, but you literally let them go onto the course when they had the dogs in the back, unless you didn't see them or something. But like, also, if you were the owner, why would you put your dogs in that sort of, danger like that? I was like, I couldn't even, okay, yeah, that I couldn't even believe. But yeah, thankfully the dogs were fine. Driver, the passenger were fine. But I was like, what in the heck?
Dog wasn't almost fine when they flipped the car back over. He was so close to the wheel.
Oh my God. Yeah. And then, they go to flip it back over, and the dog runs behind the vehicle. And, from like my vantage point, it looks like the dog gets crushed to death. The announcer's like, Fluffy, no. But thankfully the dog, it was out of the way. But like, oh my God, I totally forgot about that one. That was bad. That was bad.
I actually got a question in the chat from Hammerhead, who must have just came in, but he asked how many years you've been racing, and you've been racing since 2014, right?
Yep, since August of 2014.
Yeah. What are some of the most competitive vehicles over there? For me over here, it's mainly the Ford Ranger and the Jeep Cherokees, Ford Broncos, uh, Gra- uh, what else? Yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah, over here in the Stalker Street class, it's mostly Jeeps, uh, and then also Rangers. And yeah, I'm in the open class. I mean, yeah, it's still like there's like Rangers and like Broncos and things of that nature. Those I would say those are probably the most common and most competitive rigs. I mean, they're the ideal choice if you want to be competitive, in either class.
Yeah. Uh, Hammerhead actually asked another question, and he's asking if you were ever at Wyoming County Fair Tough Trucks, but that's pretty much a no because you're on the West Coast in Washington. Wyoming County is over here in Pennsylvania, but uh, do you have any? Does does Monster Jam still have tough trucks over there? I don't think they have them anymore. Period, because of the stuff I heard about people breaking rules in the safety department, like drinking in the pits or at the event, something like that. But do they still have it for you over there?
No, the last time that I've seen Monster Jam do tough trucks, or actually it's pro arena trucks, uh, that was 2014 at the Moda Center in Portland, Oregon. Yeah, they don't really, because now they got the Triple Threat series. So their side act is the Monster Jam drivers racing quads and UTVs. So pro arena trucks isn't a thing anymore with Monster Jam. I don't. I mean, I don't. I haven't. I I saw a video maybe a couple years ago at some like outdoor racetrack during the summer. It was saying, "Oh, this is gonna be the last time we're having tough trucks." But yeah, I don't think Monster Jam does tough trucks as a side act anymore, unfortunately, because I mean, I used to be like kind of. Well, personally, I think it's the most entertaining, and I mean, just for even the casual fan, I think seeing tough trucks would probably be the most entertaining.
Yeah, it's a shame. All it takes is a couple of bonehead bad apples, and no more fun for everyone.
Nah, it just takes a few to spoil the bunch. So
Yeah, and this motorsport is like a motorsport where your next door neighbor can pretty much go racing. Like, not only just go race, but also sign autographs for the audience. This in most motorsports, people will charge you for an autograph and stuff like this, but we'll do it right at the event in the pit party, no questions asked, and you know what I mean?
right now, I would say monster trucks, tough trucks. It's one of the most like accessible to the fans, and also, well, especially tough trucks. Not so much monster trucks. That I mean, they're very expensive and very complex, and
Mm-hmm.
or if you're race for Monster Jam, you got to be pretty talented. But yeah, dude, what's great about tough trucking, dude? Like, pretty much anybody can do it. You know, I mean, you don't have to have a lot of money, which I like, and then also because like for example, my Durango, which I own, I don't pay licensing on it. I don't drive it on the street. So I don't have insurance
Mm-hmm.
on it. So it doesn't cost me any money to keep it sitting around,
Yep.
because I've done other types of racing. We'll have like I'll have my daily driver. I'll have like another car. I'll go drag race or I'll go road course. But that, I still have to pay licensing insurance unless I guess just want to tow it to the track. But I still like to drive it on the street.
Uh,
But no, with my Durango, it doesn't cost me a lot of money. And when I do break stuff, a lot of times, sometimes I can get the things I need just at the junkyard. So it's a fairly really cheap, sport to get into. And I mean, I'm in the street class. You don't even have to, or stock class. You don't even have to do anything. You just got to buy the vehicle and just make sure the seatbelt works. I mean, but I even like me, I've done just a few minor modifications, a little suspension work, and just take some things out and a few safety things, and you can be competitive for fairly cheap. So
yeah. You did you say you have driven your Durango to the event before?
I have not. No,
Oh,
I've
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, my dad trailer or my brother
Oh,
trailers me
okay.
there.
Yeah. We sometimes get that over here. And one year, it might have been about 10 or 12 years ago, someone drove, I would say around 1993 Jeep Cherokee to an event. It was lifted, had bigger tires. He went over the jumps, took one turn, went over the tabletop, took another turn, rolled it over, and he drove it there.
Wow.
And and then we
Whoops.
have another guy named Ken Harper. He actually used to drive a Subaru GL to the event, and something he would do, he would take the entire carburetor out of the car and tear it apart before the event, win the event sometimes, and drive it home.
Wow, that's pretty good. Yeah, no, some people have driven their rigs to like the Clark County Fair. Unfortunately, a lot of people, I mean, well, some people will drive their rig to the event, race it, break it, and just abandon it there.
Tow
But
truck.
right, right. So that's good for you're good for the tow trucks, I guess. And then yeah, I think I've seen a few people at Redmond will drive there and race and then drive it home if it still runs.
Yeah. Do you have any plans for 2020? Is it mainly for YouTube or Tough Trucks? I think earlier you said you just want to do Clark County and be done for the year. Was was that what you said?
As far as racing, I'm just going to race Clark County, but I will be attending monster truck, tough truck events throughout the year, filming, just trying to continue to build my YouTube channel, and because yeah, the money I've been making off YouTube has been a huge blessing. It's allowed me, well, get surgery and things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely grateful for that. Just going to keep building on that. My Durango, since last year at the Clark County, I got one run. I took it kind of easy, and the night show got rained out. I didn't get to race it. My thing's pretty much ready to go. I mean, I might just might change. It's been a couple years since I changed the oil in it, so I might change the oil and then give her a bath, and she, be ready to go.
Any did you ever have any injuries while racing? I know you said I know what you said yesterday, but just to give the chat,
Let the people.
yeah, for yes, because of what happened yesterday with the microphones.
Right, and I can go over that again. Yeah, so I've had the first event I had. I got a little bit of whiplash. I had some pretty gnarly seatbelt abrasions and stuff. And then I did a show up in Port Angeles in 2016. Now the course wasn't. There was only four of us racers. The course wasn't too tough. There's like three jumps. There's a couple rollers, and then you make a U-turn and you hit this like there was a car with like dirt on each side of it. So it was like kind of like a mini tabletop. So the first run I tried rolling over the car jump, but the monster trucks had run over it, so the top of the car was smashed in, so it kind of created a hole, and I almost got stuck in there, and I just like floored. I'm flinging like metal and stuff up in the sheet metal up in the air, and I barely made it out of there. So the second round was like, okay, there's no way heck I'm gonna get risk getting stuck in there. So second run I made my U-turn. I let the back end straighten out. I just put it to the floor. And dude, I swear to God, I caught like 8 to 10 feet of air, and I landed. Thankfully, I landed like on all fours, so the landing didn't hurt. I did break a wheel, but like honestly, the landing didn't hurt. But I will admit, my lower back hurt for like a week and a half, and I was like, "Ooh, that's probably not good. Probably shouldn't do that anymore." Uh, and then my worst injury would have been November 2016 in Redmond. Now we had just put a skid plate on the front of my rig, which looking back that wasn't too smart of an idea. One, it added a lot of weight to the front, and two, I really hurt my approach angle. So yeah, for my first run, I roll over this tabletop. When I come down, the suspension bottoms out and the skid plate hits the ground. I was like, ooh, that didn't feel too good. And I went over this tabletop and came back around. I go over this other tabletop, and then the front of the skid plate like hits the front of the jump. And I was like, ooh, that was kind of rough. I come around and I had one more jump. I was like, well, it's the last jump. I'm just going to send it. So I put it to the floor. And again, dude, I probably caught about good 8 feet of air. But when I come down, the skid plate hit, and dude, I was seeing stars. Everybody's like, give me a thumbs up. I'm like pointing to my head. I'm like, no, dude, I got my bell rung pretty good. And I looked up online. When you see stars like that, it means your brain hits the inside of your skull. It's a bit, that's what causes you to see stars. And they say that's a concussion. So I guess I gave myself a concussion there. I'm grateful I didn't knock myself out. That's even worse. But so I think I gave myself a little minor concussion there. So yeah, I remember the second run. I just rolled through the track. So I wasn't very good. And then the announcer was like, "Boo," because he was expecting me to go big, but I got kind of messed up on that first one. So as far as injuries, those are the ones that come to mind.
Yeah, I remember. It was 2005. I don't think I got a concussion, but I do remember in 2005 I did a Tuff Truck freestyle, and I hit one jump backwards and I got like 5, 10 feet of air, and I got whipped around one way and then I whipped back. But when I whipped back, I was in a small Ford Ranger, and it had a roll cage, and right up here was my roll cage. So my helmet smacked the roll cage when I came back down from jumping from like 5, 10 feet high with almost no speed because it
Ow.
rebounded on the right side and then rebounded on the left side.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was a hard
Did you
hit.
have,
What?
did you have padding? Did you have padding on the roll bar there, or was it just straight?
No, that was my mistake.
Okay. Yeah, I have like I have some padding on the bar right behind my head just in case I accidentally whip back and so I don't knock myself too silly. So
I actually have like 3 or 4 things of roll bar padding sitting in my truck, but I'm gonna do a quick up testing, like a quick test right now, just to make sure the chat can still hear us. Or is everyone in the chat still able to hear me and Marty? Okay, if you can give me like a hashtag yes or something, just to make sure you can hear Marty and I fine, that would be great to help me out. All right,
we
thanks,
appreciate
Hammerhead.
that.
Yep, that really appreciate it. And thanks for coming in, Neil and Peter. Peter, yeah, thanks everyone who came in for the live stream. But let's see, what else did we talk about yesterday? Oh, okay. Did we talk about how Clark County started? Like how they actually started doing monster trucks and tough truck events? I think I remember that.
We I sort of basically touched on it, but I'll touch on that again, then I'll go a little bit more in depth. So, I talked to Chopper from the Monster Mayhem Forum, and he said the first time seeing tough trucks at Clark County Fair was in 1989. He said the Clark County Fairgrounds hosted the Street Truck and 4x4 Nationals. They had hundreds of show trucks, 6 monster trucks in the arena area, and in the parking lot area that was an obstacle course with small mud pits, dirt mounds, and about 6-inch logs to run over at a time course. There was even part of the course where the trucks had to back up on a dirt berm to a certain spot, then put back into drive to continue the course. So I'm pretty sure 1989 was the first time the Clark County Fair had monster trucks and tough trucks.
Okay.
Like I said, I've been going since like the mid 90s. Ever since I was a toddler, my parents would take me there. So there, I want to say in the 90s it was Jerry Strode that was promoting it, and then his son Mike Strode. I could be wrong, but I think then Mike Strode promoted kind of throughout the 2000s, and then starting in 2012, WGAS Motorsports took over, and the Clark County Fair used to look different because in 2003 they built an amphitheater right next to it, and there was like an access road right next to it, so that made the arena area a lot smaller. So anything prior to 2003. The area looked a lot bigger, but it's been the same since 2003, since they put in the amphitheater.
Do you have any favorite drivers to watch out there when you're not racing?
Yeah, yesterday I talked about it was this guy. He's sponsored by Happy Camper. Yeah, dude, no matter what vehicle he's in, he drives crazy at the Clark County Fair. Actually, this past year, I think he was in a Dodge Durango, and dude, he caught probably like 10 feet of air and just flat landed it. He always goes crazy big. And I think the year before that, he was in like a Dodge Ram. And then I think before that, he was in a Jeep. And man, he probably caught even like 15 feet of air in that. And then I didn't mention this yesterday, but I was just thinking my buddy Dustin, he races in Redmond. He's raced cars. He's races Ranger, Jeep. He calls it his this team, Fat Boys Racing or Fat Boy Racing. Yeah, dude,
awesome.
he's quite the character, and dude, he's a real crowd pleaser. I mean, he always backs up to like the wall and then just sends it off the last jump. And yeah, I really enjoy watching him. Watching him race. I really hope he can make it down to Clark County. I mean, it's only 3 hours away. Hopefully, he can come down to Clark County this year because it's just with a different track and a bigger crowd. I think he'd be the star of the show for sure. So I really enjoy watching him race.
Yeah, I also like watching Don Chester.
Oh, absolutely, dude. He's been been driving crazy for well over 20 years, and he always puts on a good show. Now his thing, he always goes on top of the tabletop and does like a good donut there. So
Yeah, and did he roll it over the tabletop the one time trying a donut? I might be wrong. I think
I
he
don't
came
remember.
close.
I know he's gotten close. Yeah, for sure. He'll go off the side. I can't remember. I don't know if he's actually rolled it over though.
And what's your favorite class to watch, stock or modified?
Well, I enjoy watching both, but I'll have to admit I love watching the stock ones because with the pro guys, it's like the rig's set up. It's got souped up motor, long travel suspension. You're not really you're expecting it to go fast and take the jumps pretty decent. Not now. Sometimes they can get pretty wild, but I would say the street classes and the stock class is more entertaining because like it's a little less predictable. And I also love just like the variety.
Yeah.
You get like because that's what I love about this motorsport, because like a lot of other motorsports, a lot of the rigs that I race are very similar, and like you can kind of get them confused, and they all kind of look the same with tough trucks. Everybody's got granted there are a lot of Jeeps and Rangers and stuff, but there's like a whole variety of rigs. I mean, you see cars out there, vans, and then everybody likes to do like crazy paint jobs. And then it's also just interesting to see, like, some people do a few modifications, some people don't do any. And also just like you get to see like not all drivers are the same. Some people drive slow, some people drive fast and crazy, some people are just smooth and technical but still pretty quick. So I would say, then also since they're not, a lot of these vehicles aren't designed to be jumped and going off road, there's body parts flying off, they're getting all out of control. I think it's the most entertaining thing to watch the stock or street class race.
Yeah, what's the most unique vehicle you saw over there? I saw the videos of the one built like a boat, and then the military truck.
Yeah, I would say the boat one. That's like, I think it's called open container, and then the military truck. I don't know if they said it was like a 6x6 or something. I would say those are the two most unique vehicles I've seen go through the Tuff Truck course.
Did you ever, by any chance, see anyone run a UPS or FedEx truck or a dump truck or a mobile home?
I have not.
Yeah,
no.
we had them over here before at Lebanon, Pennsylvania, and the mobile home, sometimes it will collapse on itself and just spread out through the entire track. And it was this one about 10 or 12 years ago. It caused the biggest mess because it was the very first vehicle to go out. And we had to wait like an hour or two for them to clean it up. While
I would have went out there and helped
in
them to
line.
get the show going.
Huh?
Right, I would have been out there helping clean up just to get the show going. It's like
I'll have to send you the video of it someday, but when he was running through the course, piece of it was just dragging through behind the mobile home.
That's tremendous.
Yeah, and these jumps were... Lebanon has one of the best jumps, like the biggest jumps of the year. So when he's hitting these jumps, everything's just going like shooting in the air and stuff.
Yeah, no, I that's one of the videos I enjoy watching that you post. Yeah, because I was mentioning this yesterday, I'm really impressed with the amount of turnout of racers you guys get. Well, because like I said, also there's like a series that goes on at the Buck Motorsports Park.
Yep,
and stuff.
And Fawn Grove at Disorder at the Border.
Yes, Fawn Grove at Disorder at the Border. Yeah, I mean, like I said, the only thing I just wish the track was a little bit more challenging, more like Clark County, because like I think tough trucking could be even bigger if most places kind of like use the formula Clark County did. Now it's not going to happen overnight. However, like Clark County's been doing consistently good shows for over 30 or about 30 years. So and it's definitely paid off. And granted, we're in an area where it's kind of a pretty large population. We got Portland, Oregon, Vancouver, then all the surrounding towns, and there's so that helps too.
Yeah. I think the perfect formula for a tough truck track would be a mix between Clark County and Fawn Grove, because I like the bumps and jumps and stuff, but I also like a flat stretch where I can get up to speed like 50, 60 miles an hour. That's why I like Fawn Grove so much, because it has some flat area where we can get up to speed, and Fawn Grove is the event I had a small undefeated streak and won a points championship in 2015.
Right. No, that this track's where you can actually open the motor up. So especially with me, I got the 5.2 with the cutoff exhaust. If I had a place to really display some of its horsepower, since I've lightened it up, it's actually pretty quick. For what it is.
Let it rip.
Let it rip, hate or chip.
Yep. Do you get to practice often with your Durango?
Not really. I drive it in my field every weekend just for 5 minutes, just to get the gas. Just so the gas doesn't sit around, just to make sure the thing starts. I swear to God, if I don't start the thing every week, when I go to start around the event time, there's some issue with it. So I always try to start up. I just drive around the field. I don't beat on it or anything. I save that for the track.
Yeah.
But.
And have you ever had any sponsorships? I think you said you have your family. I think you said your dad or something is a owner of the dealership or something. That sponsors your Durango.
That's my cousin. He's an area, a regional manager, area manager for Gainers Automotive, and back in 2018, he called me and they hooked me up with the decals and some merch, and then a little bit of money. And this last year, they actually got me 2 brand new mud tires, so they've been a huge help and a huge blessing. It's allowed me to, because the sport's pretty cheap to begin with, but now it just makes it that just much more easier and stuff. Mm-hmm. So definitely grateful for that.
What was the best event you were ever at? Do you have a favorite event that ever happened over the years, from 2014 or even before that, because you said you've been going there for a long time?
Okay, as a spectator, this goes Monster Truck / Tuff Trucks. Some of the best events I've ever been to. There was a show called Monsters of Destruction on the Outdoor Channel from, I believe, 04 to 05, or maybe it was 05 to 06. Maybe it was 05 to 06. Yeah, I think it was 05 to 06. Actually, no, it was definitely 06. I went to Cottage Grove Speedway, and then also Monroe Speedway in Monroe, Washington, or Evergreen Speedway in Monroe, Washington. Those were the best shows I've been to. And they had tough trucks at Cottage Grove, and they had dumpsters with dirt over them to make these huge tabletops. And man, dude, some dude jumped his, I don't know if it was an 80s F-150 off that and landed. I'm pretty sure it bent the frame in half. And as far as monster trucks, is good. And then also monster trucks, I guess this past, I've been to the World Finals. I went there in 2018 and 19. Those were definitely up there. And then I went to the Seattle show. As far as monster trucks, were pretty good. Tough truck events I've raced in. The first time I did tough trucks, dude, and that was awesome. I got pretty beat up. Some kid came to me in the pits and said dude, that was awesome. You're a great driver and stuff like that. And I would say in November of 2015 in Redmond, where I got 8th place out of 26, and I won $25 in my basically stock Durango. And dude, the crowd, I was losing inner fenders, doing the gap jump, and everybody, the crowd was going wild. When I came up for my second run, everybody was starting to cheer as I drove into the arena. And then the other one, I'd say Port Angeles in 2000. I think it was May or June of 2016, where I caught that big air. Yeah, I was loading up as people were leaving the arena. They were giving me thumbs up and telling me I did a great job, so that felt pretty good. So, yeah. I did also 2018 when I got back with my new Durango. I had a lot of fun doing that too. So those were some of the ones that stuck out.
You gotta love it when you do something that gets the crowd like fired up and cheering, because if you get the opposite, boo, that really sucks.
Yeah, no, yeah. So it does definitely feels good. You feel like a rock star there for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Now, which reminds me, I mean, since we had to redo this, I want you to retell the story of your very first
Oh.
Tuff Truck event. That was.
Yeah, my very first Tuff Truck event was May of 2003, just days before my birthday, and I had a 1985 Subaru wagon that was only front wheel drive. Most of them are all wheel, but mine was front wheel, and I was just very freaking nervous during this event, even just sitting in the line and watching all the other trucks go. And when it came to my turn to pull to the line, I realized that my car was creeping really slow, not moving as freely as it should be. It was just crawling up to the starting line, and I'm sitting in the driver's seat, nervous as heck, and watching the green flag drop, and dumped the clutch and tried to take off, and it started creeping again. And one of the first jumps at this event at Buck Motorsports is a wooden ramp that's only about 1 or 2 probably about 2 or 3 feet tall, but it's a straight drop off. There's no like a down ramp or anything. Well, I'm creeping up this ramp, only going like maybe 2 or 3 miles an hour, and the front end falls off of it, and so does the back wheels, but I can't move anywhere because my front end is dug into the ground, and my front wheels weren't grabbing, and my back bumper is caught on the wooden ramp. And they had to shake me off with a forklift while I'm still inside the car. Like, everyone's laughing at me, like, watching me get shaken inside the car from the forklift. And then I had to crawl back to the pits, still doing like 2 or 3 miles an hour. And when I finally got back to the pit area, I looked down to my right side. You know what I saw on my right side. My freaking e-brake was on. So that's why I was only doing like 2 or 3 miles an hour, because my rear wheels were locked. I'm surprised I even made it up the ramp, to be honest.
That's hilarious. Don't.
You know what Carlos Mencia says? Do-do-do.
Yep.
That sucked.
Oh, yeah. Actually, okay. Or hold on, continue. What were you gonna say?
I guess I can't really complain though, since I got my first race win in a few years later, 2014. But that was all the way back in 2003, so I came a long way, I guess.
Right, made it all worth it though.
Yep. But
yeah, so this actually this kind of segues me into our next topic, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I want to talk about nerves and being nervous, for racing with tough trucks. Now, for me, I was talking about this yesterday. The very first event I did, I'll be honest, I wasn't nervous. I've done other types of racing, so I was just like, you know what, and this is going to be kind of fun. I'll get the opportunity to do this. So I thought I was just like, okay, this is going to be fun. But once I found out very quick that this is a very rough sport, and it's not always as fun as it looks. So I would say after that event, every event, I was pretty nervous, especially, with tough trucking, it's, you got to get there early, you got to sign up, you got the driver's meeting, you got to wait for the show. Then when you wait for the show, you got to wait in line for your turn, right? And so you get yourself, you get all worked up, right? And then as you're waiting in line, especially at Clark County, like I'll be all the way waiting in the parking lot in this huge line, and I'll hear the roar of the crowd. Like, oh, somebody must have done something really crazy or something really good. And then coming back, this rig will be coming. The roof's caved in, the glass shattered, the tires blown out, the radiator's leaking, it's covered in mud, bent out fender, and you're just thinking like, what the heck just happened out there? It's like, is that going to be me next? You're right. And it's like, how am I supposed to follow that? Right.
Yeah.
It's just like you get so worked up, but literally, a tough truck run, 30 seconds, maybe a minute, it's over before you even like know it. So you get all worked up, like, like you get like the cotton mouth, the butterflies, the hand shaking. Like me, sometimes I'll have to use the bathroom like 3 or 4 times before I, get in line, get in line to go. You get so worked up, but then it's like it's over so fast. You're like, man, I can't believe I got worked up, that much. But what we're doing, like, one, you're performing in a large crowd. Now for me, that's not an issue. Like, seriously, like, I might as well be racing in front of like 1 or 0 people, because I'm really not focused. Like, I'm so focused, like, on the task at hand. I'm like, okay, how much is this going to hurt? So I guess that's the main least anxiety. It's like, because, it's unpredictable, the fear of the unknown. You don't know if, like, you're going to, like, flip over, hit a wall, or take a really hard lick or something,
Yeah.
And the pressure to just do well and put on a good show.
Yeah, I actually got a question from Samantha Green in the chat, who came in a little late, and she wants to know where you're from.
I'm from Vancouver, Washington.
Okay.
It's like Southwest Washington, right across the border from Portland, Oregon. So.
Yeah, but like you said, it's funny how worked up you can get at these events, because all eyes are going to be on you, and you want to do a good job. If you can't win it, you at least want to put on one heck of a show for the crowd and get them cheering and pumped up.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, you were talking about you found a way. I mean, like, I still get nervous for it. Not as nervous now, that probably mostly because I got a good setup and I've done a little bit, but I still get nervous. But you said you've kind of found a way to help with the anxiety, the anxiety leading up to your run.
Yeah, it's mainly breathing, just focusing on your breathing, whichever makes you comfortable, whether it's through the mouth or through the nose. Just focus on breathing. I did that for the first time in 2014 at Bloomsburg, and I ended up winning the entire weekend because they have a 3-day show, and I won on Friday and lost the lead for the weekend on Saturday, and ended up having to do a little work on the Jeep, but I ran again on Sunday, focused on my breathing, ended up winning the entire weekend by like 2 seconds.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, because, like, having anxiety isn't bad, because, like, it does let you know, hey, this is pretty important. You should, really focus on this. But I mean, obviously, you don't want it to get to a point where it's like debilitating, where it hurts your performance, right? So that's good. You can kind of control that. Now, just go out there and just do the best you can and put on a good show.
Yep. And it's actually Gary on Samantha's account. I know who Gary Green is. We race at most of the events over here together with Buck Motorsports and Disorder at the Border and all that stuff. But yeah, Gary, I'm actually talking to Marty Hansen, and he's over in Washington and races at Clark County. Yep, those videos. But let's see what else we have here. Have you ever had a manual transmission in your Durango?
I have not. All mine have been automatics. And I think this is what I kind of had a brain fart on earlier at the beginning of the video when I was looking for my very first Tuff Truck.
Can I actually cut you off? You were talking about the nerves earlier and having to use the bathroom and stuff. A piece of advice: if you're sitting in your car and you see someone offer you a bottle of water or food before you're about to run, don't take it. They're trying to set you up to go to the bathroom while you're sitting in line. That's what they're doing. A guy in a Subaru GL when I first started would do that to everyone. He would try to offer everyone like water, ice cream, stuff to make you want to run to the bathroom while you're nervous.
That's tremendous. Yeah, no, I always try to like make sure, I have my meal and drink probably an hour or two before the show, and then I'm ready to go. So there should be no interruptions when I'm out there, at the task at hand. This is what I kind of brain farted on earlier when I was trying to look for I had kind of a criteria on what I wanted for a Tuff Truck vehicle. And I did not want a manual transmission because at the events I've seen, a lot of times the manual will want to pop out of gear, through like a rough whoop section. So I was like, okay, it's got to be an automatic. So I got the I can't even remember what the code for the transmission is, but yeah, it's just the automatic that comes in the 1999 Dodge Durango. So
Yeah, I don't think it pops out from the impact. It might even just be because someone has their hand on the shifter when they're taking a jump and they forget to take it off and put it back on the steering wheel. I know I'm guilty of it when when I'm driving my Cherokee, not my Cherokee, my CJ7 or my Volkswagen Golf GTI. But
right. Oh yeah, and then well yeah, because like now normally me, I always have my hands on the wheel, but like we were talking about this yesterday, I have my thumbs on the wheel. I don't have it inside the wheel.
yep,
One of the drivers said that like if you ever your thumbs inside the wheel and the wheel like turns on you, you could end up like breaking a thumb. So I always try to keep my. I've always remembered that. That was like from my very first Tuff Truck event. Like I was waiting in line. He's like, yeah, you're probably gonna want to keep your thumbs on the, the face of the steering wheel, not inside. And dude, that's very. I believe it because man, I've lost power steering before. And dude, you get really bad bump steer with no power steering going through like the gator backs. Because yeah, it was in 2018. I ended up because I swapped everything from an old Durango, and I don't think my belt was quite the correct size. There must have been one of the pulleys on something must have been like different between the years, whatever. Anyways, I lost the belt. We did end up wrapping it like duct tape around a couple of the pulleys to make the pulleys a little bit bigger just to get the belt. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to find the right, since I lost the belt on the track, I didn't know what size of belt I needed. So anyways, I ended up getting a belt that was too small, but we had it routed wrong, so it was actually too big. This sounds crazy. But anyways, we were able to get it on there. It was on there tight enough to stay on and turn the alternator, but really wasn't turning the water or the power steering pump enough. And I remember going through the gator backs with no power steering, and dude, like the wheel just like turned on me like all of a sudden. And good thing I didn't have my thumbs in there because I probably would have ended up with a couple broken thumbs.
yeah, my yeah.
Or no,
Go ahead.
keep going. Oh well, I was gonna go to a different subject. But I'll let you talk real quick.
Well, I was just gonna say my Volkswagen Golf GTI actually has no power steering, so I know what that's like.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Hmm.
I was going to ask you, since we're on the topic of transmissions. Now, me, I put my thing in. Well, it's I guess
Drive.
it'd be. Well, it's dry. Well, no, I have it in. Okay, so the transfer case. I think I have it
Okay.
in four. I have it in four high, even though I don't have 4-wheel drive because took the front diff out. I have it in four high, but I keep it in first gear.
Okay.
Now I've thought about doing four low and going second gear, but I mean it would be a little bit more responsive, but I'm afraid that it would like spin the tires too much, you know. So
Yeah.
well, I was going to ask you, since I do four high, I lock it in. On the column, I lock it in first gear. What do you do? What do you do for your rigs when you race?
Pretty much everything I run in four wheel drive that has 4-wheel drive, I run it in 4-wheel low. My Jeep CJ7 is in low range. My Jeep Cherokee is in low range. My Dodge Ram is also in low range. Even though I have that 360, I might test it with 4 high. I never did that yet, but for the stock class so far, I have everything in low range and run. I'll start out in second with the CJ7 because that has a manual transmission and
Mm-hmm.
shift it into third, and that's pretty much all I need. And
Right.
with the automatic transmission in the Jeep Cherokee in low range, I'll get up to about third gear, and third gear is about 50, 60 miles an hour in low range.
Wow. But also depends on the track too, because like Clark County, dude, there's so many bumps you don't gain too much speed.
Hmm.
Because I think my first, I mean, I've never tested. I would say my first gear in my Durango, it's got to go at least 40 miles an hour if I had to guess.
Yeah.
You know, and that'd be really wrapping it out. I just felt like with four low, even if I went to second gear, like I said, it would be more responsive. Because I think when I took it in my field, normally where it was like at 2 grand and four high, it was in first, and four low and second, it was like at 3 grand or whatever. But
Well,
I just feel like it would lose too much traction. I probably wouldn't actually be any faster. So I don't know.
the thing is, there are some spots you want to lose traction because you're on dirt, not asphalt.
Right.
You want to rotate the vehicle as soon as possible, and the lower gearing will help you do that most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
especially with a welded differential in the rear end. But then
Yep.
again, you only have a two-wheel drive, so that is a yeah. Do you still have a low range? Yeah, you still have your transfer case, right?
Yeah, I still have the transfer case. I can put it in low range. It doesn't always want to go in. It's kind of hard to get the thing to go into low range sometimes. I grind it a few times before I can get in there, but eventually it will go. I don't know what I don't know what the trick is, but sometimes it's hard to get
I
get the
would
thing in.
say maybe put it in low range and put it in drive and
Mm-hmm.
just see what happens. Maybe test it out in your field because you might. It's more about what you're comfortable with. If you're comfortable with the higher range, then that's what you need to do. If you're more comfortable with the low range, that's what you need to do pretty much. It's all about satisfying your driving style to a point where you're comfortable and the nerves aren't going to get a hold of you and you're going to
Mm-hmm.
manage everything better than everyone else and get around the track faster.
Right, right. Yeah, no,
Know what
so
I
so
mean?
far I'm pretty. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, so far I'm comfortable with it, but I don't know. I might try it. See how I'm feeling when the Clark County comes around.
Hmm. So, which do you really prefer to do more? Do you like being a spectator more or a participant?
Hmm. I I guess slightly spectator more just because I don't have to deal with the nerves. I can just sit back and enjoy the show. But I don't know, dude. Sometimes it's tough to beat. Like, because you kind of get like you kind of feel like a rock star there,
Hmm.
you know. And it's just like it's kind of fun catching air in a vehicle. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like. I would say slightly more spectator just
Except
because I
for
don't
the
have to deal with
landing.
that. Right, right. Yeah, yeah. Catching air is not best. The landing is what is not always fun. I guess slightly spectator because I can actually sit back and enjoy the show and not be my anxiety is pretty low because I mean with tough truck racing I mean you got like I said you got to like travel to the event. A lot of times you got to be there early. You got to sign in. You got to the driver's meeting. Then you got to wait for the event. You got to sit around a long time and if you break stuff in between rounds you got to like try to find parts and fix a thing. So I mean it can get pretty hectic, but it does feel worth it though. Like when you put on a good show or do a good job, and people like do that. You were like start the show that was awesome, and you hear the roar of the crowd, and like I said, it's fun to like catch air in a vehicle. So
Yeah, I hear that, but let me check something here real quick. Okay. How would you like to see tough trucks grow as a motorsport? Is there anything you would like to see improve, like the track sizes?
yeah, well, like I said, I would like to see more events on the caliber, as a on caliber with Clark County. There's like 5 to 7 thousand people watching there. There's like 100 racers. Like, and the track is actually tough. It's called Tuff Trucks. So
Mm-hmm.
the course has got to be tough enough where like your rig's got to be tough enough to survive, the course. And also I like the courses that are a little bit, nothing too technical where everybody has to slow down a lot. Like I'm not a big fan of like going weaving in and out of the barrels and doing the 360 around the tire. I mean, I don't know, and just like or if there's like rocks and logs, I just like just lots of whoops and jumps and then a good jump at the end so people can kind of air it out.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to see more events like Clark County annual events like Clark County pop up around the country or even around the world. I mean, it would be awesome if tough trucks were like on TV or something. If like tough trucks were like the side act to Monster Jam or something. And, because like it was really cool back in the day in Motor Madness where they had pro arena
Yep.
trucks, and okay, a lot of them were pro style trucks, but there was also some stalkers in there, and it was just cool to like see that because that was awesome. It was 3 hours live, on like a Friday night or whatever. So now I would love to see. I mean, it'd be cool to if Tough Trucks were ever to make it onto TV. Kind of far fetched, but I think having more events the size of Clark County around the country or even outside the country is possible if somebody just follows the formula and is committed. Because like I don't think it's gonna happen overnight. You got to like be consistently good for a handful of years. And yeah, I mean we know it's possible. And yeah, I'd like to see the sport grow, more people watch it, and more people participate, and just bigger and better events.
Yeah, I think it has been growing also, don't you?
I think so. I think just like because with YouTube and then just like the video, NW Fan 2's posted, I've posted, you've posted. I think that alone has actually probably helped, help the sport, because then people are like, oh, I want to be famous on the internet too, and I know this person's going to be filming at my area. I better go out there, find a rig, go out there and do something crazy, So, because just around here, like I got Clark County's big, and those videos do well on the internet. And then also Redmond, Oregon, they have a good turnout, 25, 26. I mean, the population around there is not even as big as like Vancouver and Portland. I mean, granted, you got Redmond, Bend, Madras, and Lapine, and stuff like that around the area. But so, I mean, if kind of an area like that can have a decent turnout, I think other areas could have a good turnout as well. So I definitely think the sport has grown.
You know what would be pretty funny? You seen these? Wouldn't it be funny if they brought the Cybertruck or this new electric Hummer or whatever they're talking about to a Tuff Truck event to race?
Oh yeah, that'd be hilarious. I mean, it'd be a great marketing tool, because if it went through there and survived, it's like, hey, they're gonna survive this. You can do whatever with what you want with it. I'd also love to see like a Ford Raptor go through the Clark County Fair Tuff Trucks.
I actually did see something like that. It wasn't a Raptor, but it was like a Ford Excursion at Dennis Anderson's Muddy Motorsports Park, and it had a Raptor grill on it, and it looked like something like a pre-runner, but the tires were much bigger.
Okay.
I'll have to send it to you sometime, but I would really love to race against the Cybertruck in a Tuff Truck event. That'd be freaking awesome.
Yeah, because if you beat one, you can say you beat a Cybertruck.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think if I had to pick a truck to race against it with, it would either be my CJ7 with the V8 or my modified Dodge Ram that my friend Brad and I are working on with the King shocks. But it would be funny to either race against it or crash into it.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, the new Hummer, doesn't it say it has like 1,000 horsepower and 11,000 foot-pounds of torque or something ridiculous like that?
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yep,
Yeah.
I saw that. But
yeah, I don't know. Well,
who knows? 20 years down the road, we'll be racing against Cybertrucks.
right? Well, that's funny you bring that up, because like seriously, because like think about this. I mean, if the sport continues, let's say 20, 40, 60 years from now, you're going to see a lot of these vehicles we see driving today. They're going to be in these events, which is crazy to think about.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're like, oh, these cars are too nice, or I don't know. I just can't imagine them being abused, So we'll see.
Do you watch any of the rally racing stuff, or Dakar or Baja?
I don't.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good stuff. It's a good way to even learn how to race a little bit better. I told you this yesterday. One of the guys one of the rally drivers I used to study for my driving style was Colin McRae, about left foot braking and all that stuff with a manual transmission. But do you play any of the racing games at all?
I don't play too many video games anymore. I guess the most recent I was playing, I think, is it Monster Jam Steel Titans, the Monster Jam game that came out. I've been playing that. Then, as a joke, this was like before my first Tuff Truck event, I posted a screenshot of me playing it's like 4x4 Evo. It's like an off-road game for like PS2. I had like a Durango on there. I was jumping it. Yeah, and then also, what was it, like Forza Horizon? You could like do some cool off-road stuff on there. And then like Grand Theft Auto. I mean, I was more into that. I mean, probably during like middle school through like college years. But I've done a lot of played a lot of off-road racing games. And then it's actually really funny. I got my first iPhone, I think, in 2011 or something, because that Monster Truck Destruction game came out. I literally bought because I actually used to have like a Nokia brick phone or whatever, just bare bones minimum phone. But that game came out, I was like, you know what, I really want to play that game, so I ended up getting that phone for my birthday. So,
what? Do you remember? What other awesome moments have you seen at Clark County? I think I remember. Yeah, it was a Grand Cherokee or something that went through the dragon back loops, and his front end caught into it, and he did like a lawn dart, and the back end hit the camera.
Yeah, that was Ben Parker.
Oh, you know
Uh,
who that was?
yeah, because he raced there from 2014 to 2016, and I think in 2016 he like helped push me up onto the trailer with his rig, and we would just be talking there. Um, I remember us talking in the pits because I think he was parked next to me in the pits there, uh, before the show. Yeah, because he had like it was a Jeep Cherokee. I think he had a 5.2, but he had like a Ford Explorer grill on it or something.
Yep.
Yeah. So no, Ben Parker. Yeah, he hasn't raced there since 2016, but dude, that guy was he was pretty cool. He drove pretty crazy. So
Yeah.
he was
That's
fast too.
probably one of the gutsiest drivers I've ever seen. After what
Yeah, yeah,
happened.
yeah. Well, it was really funny because like the next year after the first show, I guess like
Hmm.
he flew the mud pit, and like there's a bump going into the mud pit and a bump coming out of the mud pit. Well, I guess he hit this front bumper on the mound going out of the bump going out of the mud pit. And I guess he was seeing stars. He was like, "Oh man, that was pretty rough."
He wasn't the one driving that black and green Fox Cherokee that got like 20 or 30 feet. Well, it wasn't 30 feet, but however high it was, he was way up there. It, do you know what Jeep I mean? The black and green one that said Fox on the side of it?
Yep, yep. Yeah. I know who you're talking about. I'm friends with him on Facebook. So
So that wasn't Ben Parker then?
no, that's not Ben Parker.
Okay, that's someone else. Yeah, they have some
Yeah, but
really downright crazy moments down there at Clark County.
oh my gosh, yeah, because it was I believe his name's Nick Fox. Yeah, he backed up all the way, and dude, he like that's a big tabletop in the center. Dude, he freaking cleared it and landed on the other side.
Hmm.
And then before they kind of stopped doing this after 2017, but they'd have like a pretty decent sized jump on the other side of the tabletop, and people would hit that, and dude, freaking catch like I had to guess like 15 feet of air, like no joke.
Yeah.
I never hit that. Actually like I didn't race 2017 because when I got my rig back together, my transmission didn't work. That's what kind of happens when you break transmission lines and drive without knowing that's leaking transmission fluid. Anyways, so I didn't race 2017, so I missed that. 2016, I was having driveshaft issues, so I didn't even get to that part of the course. Yeah, 2015, they didn't really have the kicker jump on the side, I don't think, or if they did, you weren't supposed to hit. I can't remember, but yeah, no, dude, there's been some crazy, like insane, like I'm surprised somebody hasn't broken their back yet, like.
Same over here. We had some scary moments also. But tell you what, I'm gonna do a while. I'm gonna give the chat a minute or two. If they want to ask me or Marty anything, they can feel free to. Or if you have any questions yourself, I'll give you a minute or two before we shut it down. But yeah, if anyone has anything.
Well, people are thinking of questions that. I just wanted to comment. We talked about this yesterday. I think it was Lebanon where that Brown Ranger,
Yep.
freaking like, dude, he like nosed into the second jump and just the front end went flying in the air and he just slammed down, dude. That was insane.
Yeah, I call that the Bronco rebound.
Yeah, the Bronco rebound. That was crazy.
Even though it's a Ranger, it's called a Bronco for a reason. It's a wild ride.
Right.
But yeah, I'll give the chat a minute or two here, and
So yeah, I attended six events last year. How many did you attend last year? Do you know, or is it too many to count?
yeah, it's double digits over here. Mostly for us, the season starts March. We have one show in March in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, which is only about a half hour from me.
Okay.
And then we don't have anything until the end of April. And from then on, it's almost a race every weekend and sometimes even between. I know July can have a event every weekend in between. Well, every weekend and in between, but there are, I would say it's around 20 shows a year sometimes. We'll
Holy
even
cow.
go, I went as far from Pennsylvania to Maryland. North Carolina, uh, what's that one state? I don't know. But I want to go to Indianapolis someday, and that's 8 hours away. I've been to New York. Uh, okay, Peter's Outdoors actually has a question. What track is your favorite?
It'd be Clark County Fair. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just it's the I don't think any really track is compared to it in my opinion. It's
hands
insane.
down. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's the best tough truck show in the entire country, easily.
Yeah, I would say so too.
Yeah,
It's pretty insane. So what's your limit? Like I usually don't travel more than 3 hours. I did, however, one time I went down to Klamath Falls, Oregon, which is 300 miles. It took us 6 hours because it was like snowing over the pass, and it was really funny because I get there, and well, actually, I guess I got there late, and they weren't even like gonna like let me race, but then they did, and then I went off the first jump and I broke my drive shaft. So I traveled 300 miles, 6 hours in the snow just to do one jump. I felt kind of bad because my brother towed me all the way up there. We're just like, well, I'm not sure if that was worth it, but
yeah. The furthest I went was from Pennsylvania to Toronto, Canada. That was like a 10 or 12 hour drive, and we had a group of four. It was like four or more people that went to that show. It was Toronto Monster Jam, and
okay,
back then I only had a two-wheel drive, front-wheel drive Mercury Tracer at the time. I got my butt whipped.
that's cool. You got to race in like a big place like that, and
Oh,
I mean, it's cool. You got to go up as a group. I mean, I think that probably made a lot more
that
fun.
place was massive. Oh my god. And the sad part is, someone's truck died in New York, so we had to hook it up to my truck, the three-car trailer to my truck, and oh my god, that was
Oh,
sketchy. And when we came home, it was another 10-hour drive in the snow this time,
oh,
over a mountain.
jeez.
Over a mountain.
Oh
I
my
about
gosh.
crapped myself. And
Yeah, yeah.
I let the guy whose truck died, I let him drive. I wasn't having any of that.
Yeah. No, thankfully my either my dad or my brother graciously enough to tow me around. My dad and my brother, my whole family kind of share like a flatbed trailer. My dad's got like a 2015 F-150. My older brother's got like a 2018 or 19, probably a 19 F-250. So um, that's how I get around.
Yeah. Alright, I don't think the chat really has anything else. I'll give them maybe 1 or 2 more minutes to see if they have anything they want to ask. But thanks for agreeing to do the live stream again. And I'm really sorry about yesterday with the microphone. I can't believe I forgot to add that as a source into my streaming platform here. I feel like, you know,
Yeah, I mean it happens, and I was happy to do it again because I just felt we had a really good conversation.
yeah,
Because
definitely.
because tough trucks is kind of niche, and there's not a lot of things. And if you think about it, we're not like I mean, tough trucking is if it's only been around since 1986, it really hasn't been around that long, right? So if somebody and now this is going to be on the internet for until the end of civilization. People can come back and watch, if they want to learn about where tough trucks got started, or just what tough trucking was like during that time. They can come back and watch something like this. So I think that's really cool.
Yep, and
So yeah, I was happy to redo it here.
like I said, if you're not subscribed to Marty Hansen here, be sure to go over to his channel. He has some really good stuff over there of tough trucks and monster trucks. Like I said, I really appreciate you doing this again after yesterday. And I hope everyone had a good time in the chat and enjoyed the interview. So I'm going to let you guys get ready for the Super Bowl now because I saw you guys were posting Super Bowl Sunday, stuff like that. Even though we're talking about tough trucks, but it's all right, no problem.
Yeah.
Hope everyone enjoys the Super Bowl. All right.
One more thing. We talked about this yesterday, but I didn't talk about it here.
Okay.
Is just I remember people like want to know what it's like to catch air in a vehicle, because not everybody gets to do tough trucks,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I will say, if you land tires first, it's really not that bad because the tire, the spring, and the shock absorb most of the impact, right? But if you ever hit anything solid like bumper, frame, skid plate, no bueno. It's not good. I remember in 2016 at the Clark County Fair, there were some 4 rollers in front of me, and this Jeep in front of me went through there pretty quick. So I was like, okay, it looks like I can floor it through here. And I had just put a new front diff into it because I had broken the front diff, so I had 2-wheel drive. I put a brand new diff in there. So I had 4-wheel drive for the event for the mud pit. And so when I floored off the line, I caught a lot more traction than I normally do, and the thing just lawn darted me into the back of the next jump. And dude, like I could feel like my insides get like jarred around. I was like, ow, that hurt. So yeah. Be safe out there.
Yeah, I bet you woke up the next day sore.
Yeah, I was sore after that event.
Yeah,
but,
when you get older and you're doing tough trucks, you have to crack a lot more bones back into place.
Right. Well, okay. Real quick then. Like, when do you think you should stop doing tough trucks? I see people in their 50s still doing it. I mean, when do you think, or do you think it just depends on the person, or do you think is there kind of an age like where you kind of see it start to taper off, like with drivers?
If you feel like you can't do this anymore, you know when it's time to stop. But
right.
As for me, I don't see myself stopping anytime soon. I will keep cracking the bones back into place as long as I can. I'll keep working on the trucks as long as I can. I'll keep running as hard as I can. I'll keep racing until, I don't know, I'm just going to keep going as long as I can. That's all I can say. As long as I feel like I can keep doing it, I'll keep doing it. And if I do feel like it's time to stop racing, I'll keep doing the YouTube channel and recording the tough trucks, monster trucks, and mud trucks, stuff like that. Because this is pretty much my passion. And from what I heard from an NW fan, too, who speaks really highly of you, he thinks you're really passionate about the sport also, which is why I wanted to talk to you about it.
Yep, definitely. No, and NW fan too. We both run Northwest Monster Trucks on Facebook there, because we connected over Facebook, and we were covering a lot of the same events, and then we ended up meeting at the events, and then I remember we were in Astoria, Oregon. I want to say it was 2004, October 2014 maybe, and I was like, hey man, we should just like join forces and just since between the two of us, we were covering the majority of the shows in Washington and Oregon. So that's when we ended up creating Northwest Monster Trucks on Facebook. So from there, we post links to all of both the videos from both of our channels on there. And I'm definitely passionate about this. I'll be probably doing this until the day I die.
Yep.
Tough trucks.
I was going to say that, but I didn't want to say. I didn't want to say I was going to race until it kills me or something like that.
Well, hopefully.
I hope it doesn't, but
I hope not either. I mean, there's been deaths in tough trucks, but usually, I don't think that usually a drivers. I know some people have gotten hit by tough trucks, like spectators or people in the pits.
Yeah, let's not go there.
Right. Anyways, we want to end on a good note, but no, I'll probably race my current tough truck. Until it won't go anymore. And then from there I'll decide if I want to build another one. So we'll see. But I'll definitely be filming and doing the YouTube thing and just going to the shows and enjoying myself. So.
Mm-hmm. And one last thing I want to say is 2020 Tough Trucks, and I know some of my fellow competitors are right there watching this channel. And guess what? This year, I'm going after all of ya.
That was good. That was tremendous. So, but I got some. The next show I'll be at was Redmond at the end of this month. I'll be filming that, and then there's a Monster Jam in Portland like the next day. So then the race I'll be racing at is at Clark County in August. And we should definitely maybe do this again after Clark County, and we can chat again and talk about the event and how bad I do.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, thanks again, man, for doing this. I really appreciate it, and everyone who dropped into the chat today to help make sure the audio levels were working properly. So, all right, man, I'll let you go and have fun with the Super Bowl. All right?
Thank you, man. This is a lot of fun. Enjoy the Super Bowl, man. Take care.
You too. See ya.